Xanderhal put out a video on ChudLogic.
He decided to manufacture the narrative. And since that point, he's been making pretty incessant hate videos on me since. So the first one...
So this is not true. This is not true. And you'll see he does not bring up any evidence for this. What he is accusing Chud of is what he does. That is what he does, and that is literally what he is doing in the moment that he is accusing Chud of this. Anybody who watched these videos knows that that is not what happened. He did lie about her. He did lie. So did Demon Mama. They both lied. They 100% lied. I substantiate this. I prove this. I prove this over and over. He doesn't actually engage with the substance of the videos. He just looks at thumbnails that gives him an ability to run with a narrative. This is really weird that he's acting like DK just randomly tweeted this at White Nervosa. There's a lot of context that makes this a bit more understandable when you realize she is doing her best to ruin this person's life.
ChudLogic's talked about the fact that he doesn't really give a shit about what he does or says or any of his vile behavior.
That's not true. Chud has over and over said, I disavow this, I don't agree with this, I don't think he should do this, this is a horrible belief, this is something that I disagree with, and I hope you guys stop watching me if I do that.
I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an insight into this drama. And
it is a little bit. He is correct on that. It is just a little bit of insight. It is very, very little insight into this drama. You can't turn around and make claims about the video and talk about details within the video if you didn't watch the video. Xanderhal fans, are you okay with this? Are you cool with this?
Panoramic view of where they were living.
What's up, Lonnie? How's it going? What's up, Eli? Lonnie, Lonnie jumping in. Oh yeah, my title's about Xanderhal. Yeah, that's lying again. I would love to know. I reached out to you a while ago. Because I don't trust anything he says, Lonnie. Even when it all came out, I didn't trust a freaking thing that he said. I wanted to talk to you about it because, yeah, I have trouble believing anything that guy says. And now that he's lied about me like 5 or 6 times over the last couple weeks, I would love to know. Haha, saw the notification and decided to pop in and say hi. Yes, I would love to know what all he got wrong in that stuff. I am very interested. I had thought about it, but decided it would probably only drag things out. Yeah, sure. I mean, look. I think, look, this is just my personal opinion. You were part of that community. Those people knew you. And they got, like some of your side of things. And then they got his side of things in detail. And then they didn't get your side of things again. And I would hope, I would hope, maybe I'm wrong. Based on my experience with his community, they don't actually, care about any of this stuff. I've gotten lots of DMs from people saying, damn, I didn't realize, how much he lied until you put out these videos and stuff, blah, blah, blah. But, most of his community is just oh, you don't like Xanderhal? Well, we do. And it's wait, I'm not talking about whether or not we like him. I'm just talking about, the fact that he's lying. I don't care if you like him. You can like him all you want, but you like a liar. You just got to come to grips with that. So yeah, I would think that they would listen to you. They would trust you on a lot of these things more than other people. But yeah, I mean, if you're, I'm sure it was hard, so I'm sure if you came to grips with this stuff on your own time, then yeah. I love his community, but they are his community at the end of the day. Most of them would side with him, and that's fine. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. All right. Well, I guess let's jump right into it then. Xanderhal put out a video on ChudLogic. And look, the stuff that Chud does, Chud's out there, man. He does some freaking crazy stuff. So does his editor. That's fine. I'm happy to just be yeah, I don't think that's good from time to time and just leave it at that. But Chud is not his editor. And if you guys go back to the first couple times I talked to ChudLogic, we had a debate over whether or not you should be allowed to fire somebody who's been canceled. That was our debate. He kept saying, if cancel culture comes after somebody online, you shouldn't be allowed to fire them just because like people don't like them anymore, or because they said something racist outside of work or something like that. You shouldn't be allowed to fire them. My position was, if they're costing you money, whether it was at work or not, like if people are less likely to come to your business because that person works there, then yeah, you should probably fire them. Like 100%, you should fire them. But I'm a capitalist. He's a socialist. And not only is he a socialist, he's a socialist who's consistent with his beliefs and thinks, yeah, I want to protect workers. I want workers to have rights. I want workers to have insurance, that they are not just going to get dropped if all of a sudden they say something bad on Twitter.
And the reason that lefties frame it in that way and talk about it is because, I mean, my perspective anyway, is I think it's quite interesting to look at cancel culture as like a workers' rights issue. And what I mean by that is, like, should people be able to be fired for things that they post on social media? You know, where's the line on that? Like, if someone breaks the law, yeah, they probably should be allowed to be fired, as long as there's due process and the correct procedures followed, that's fine. But if someone posts a spicy meme or a racist joke or, you know, whatever it is, like, should they be able to be... Because the thing is, what will happen is there'll be this campaign and people will go, look at what this person's done, let's contact their employer, let them know, and then that will then lead to them potentially losing their job.
Yeah, if I'm bringing in $1 million a year, but this cancellation of me makes us lose like $100,000 a year. Well, after like, you know, net expenses, like, you know, my salary and all that other stuff, if I'm still profitable, then it probably makes sense to keep me.
So but then what you're arguing for is that a company is owed good behavior from you at every second of the day, even when you're not on the clock. So at midnight, right? The company is entitled to expect that you behave in a way that's becoming with the brand, but it's you know, I'm not, if I was working for a company, I'm not paid at midnight to act as a representative for your brand. You pay me to come in 9 to 5 to be a representative for your brand. So if I engage in some shitty behavior that happens to go viral, you know, and it causes an issue of profitability, because the problem you've got, your fundamental is that it's if it causes a profit issue for the company, that could be a whole bunch of things that I'm pretty sure you would say isn't that bad. But if the company can argue it's affecting profitability, you're giving them the right to fire them, even if it's some shitty thing they do at midnight.
And he's very consistent with that, and I actually appreciate that. And so then when people come after his editor pretty consistently for things that his editor says on Twitter that is not on the job, I mean, his editor's job is editing, right? So like, if it's not actually editing, if it's not actually like, you know, you screwed up this part, you were supposed to edit that out and you didn't, like, then they're going to be pretty consistent. Like he's being consistent with his belief, saying, I'm not going to fire my editor just because he did something, you know, off the job that people are upset about. I disagree with that, but I appreciate his consistency on this. I appreciate Chud being consistent. All of these people, I put out a video talking about Xanderhal. I've proven since then that he went ahead and just lied about my video. I suppose I should pull that up as well.
Did you see this guy's essay video about you and Vosh dumping shoe? Tomfoolery show. I heard about the Tomfoolery show hit piece video. Apparently it's not a hit piece on Vosh, it's just a hit piece on me and Demon Mama, because the guy who made the video knows that Vosh and Shu are still chill. And so even though Vosh made the exact same criticisms as me and Demon Mama, oh, and Denims, yeah. Even though we made the exact same, Vosh made the same criticisms as me and Demon Mama, like criticizing Vosh with that video would not work well for a shoe on head like simping video. So he basically says, I think Vosh's criticisms were really good.
Just to be clear, I mean, everybody who watched the video knows I was very critical of Shoe on Head in the video. I was very critical of Shoe on Head. I think I called her stupid numerous times throughout the video. So I don't think that's it's a very bad job at simping, honestly. I need to up my simping game if this was my Shoe on Head simping video.
Meanwhile, Vosh is saying like, shoot, you're supporting an insane conspiracy theory and you're acting like...
Vosh did not say that. Vosh did not say that. Now, supporting a conspiracy theory is very different from her being a Nazi conspiracy theorist who believes in the Jewish cabal conspiracy theory. Those are the three things that Xanderhal said. Xanderhal said she is a Nazi, who is a conspiracy theorist, who believes in the Jewish cabal conspiracy theory. That's what he said, okay? That's what he said about this.
Like a dumb bitch who shouldn't be in politics right
This is not what Vosh said, though. So him and Vosh do not agree on this. He's just lying.
now, I think was the exact quote there. Like, that was more or less a summary, right? Yeah, it's a very clear DJ Mule clone moment. Did you see this?
So yeah, that's, I mean, I went ahead and, I think I put a clip in here. I don't really watch Shoe on Head stuff. She's kind of dumb. She's not a very smart person. I believe she debated Hunter Avalon a while back, saying that, like, it's good to advocate for violence against people if they're rich. So yeah, so I called her dumb a couple of times in there. I don't actually think she's dumb, but I don't agree with her. I think that she says insane stuff all the time. And then throughout the entire video, I'm saying that, like, she should have pushed back against her audience more. She should have done better to, like, you know, let people know that she didn't agree with the conspiracy theory stuff like that. But he says that it's a Shoe on Head simping video because he never watched the video at all. So, and I would say that's a lie. I would say if you know you don't know anything about the video, yet you're coming out and talking as though you know things about the video, I would say that's a lie. Or he watched the video and is just making stuff up. One way or the other, he's lying here. Like, either way, this is a lie. So then eventually, instead of actually engaging with my video, Chud Logic had reviewed my video and puts it out on YouTube. And him and his editor and White Nervosa all go after Chud Logic for his thumbnail about the video. And his editor for liking comments under the video. This is all a way for them to, like, avoid critiques and just, like, argue about things that have nothing to do with the actual video and get mad at people for engaging with the video, right? They can just go after you for watching the video at all and seeing plain as day that he lied over and over, that he made stuff up over and over, and then now here he is just, like, refusing to admit it and just over and over continuing to dig himself deeper. So they go after the editor, they go after Chud Logic, they go after all these other people, except for me. They won't talk to me, won't acknowledge me. That's how all of this started. And then it went on from there with White Nervosa and all of these people getting into it with Chud Logic's editor and all sorts of crap. That's how all of this happened. Was Xanderhal didn't want to engage with my video, so he burnt the bridge with Chud Logic. That's what happened, okay? Chud Logic was not, like, super mean while watching my review on Xanderhal. I was mean. I was a dick. Chud Logic wasn't. Chud Logic was like, damn, that's bad, dude. Damn. Wow. Can't believe. Whoa. He lied. Oh, he said that. Oh, damn. Like, that's as much as we got from Chud Logic. He was not going hard on Xanderhal. He was very nice about it. Okay. So Xanderhal puts out a video. Why I burned the Chud Logic bridge. Now, I commented on this, like, within, like, 10 minutes of it coming out. I commented and said, is the entire video because I wanted to run away from tomfoolery, so this is just a new way to avoid it? Like, they deleted that comment within, like, minutes of me posting it. They deleted my comment. You can see there's nobody has seen this comment. Thankfully, there's a lot of other people who have commented on there. Just watch Tom's video, dude. Like, what are you doing? Just stop digging yourself deeper. Just watch it.
All right, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about a little bit of petty internet drama, but personally, I think that morally I'm obliged to talk about this, you know, because some bad people have been saying some bad things to good people that I like. And I'm not a big fan of that. I guess I'll give you guys a little bit of background here. How many of you are familiar with a content creator by the name of ChudLogic? I assume a lot of you guys are aware of who this guy is. You see, ChudLogic, for those of you guys who don't know, and I imagine you guys are going to be able to tell, like, what we're going to be talking about here in a minute. For those of you guys that don't know who ChudLogic is, he started off as sort of a, I would actually say pretty funny, up-and-coming British politics streamer and, like, somewhat commentary streamer around a little after I think I started. And I remember watching his stuff.
Look, everybody, like, White Nervosa, all of these people, they talk about how Chud used to be farther left. I might even agree with that, because, yeah, the first time I talked to him, I was talking to him, like, when I'm saying, like, yeah, I would fire these people, I started talking about what my job is, what I do for a living in linguistic marketing, and, like, how I like, hire people, how I fire people. I started talking about all this stuff. Chud Logic was, like, he was, like, muting and, like, talking to his audience. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow, he is cold-blooded, man. This guy, do you believe him? And his audience is going off like, wow, this guy is an unapologetic capitalist. This is disgusting. Like, and they all hated me, and they were all very different back then. And I think Chud was very different back then as well. He said since then that he, like, back then he was just very afraid of his audience. He was terrified of his audience. He felt like they were holding him captive. He felt like they were going to come after him for every little thing. And then after, like, a while, he just stopped giving a crap, and just, like, he just started saying whatever he wanted. He's in, age of the Giga Chat now. I would say it's probably true that there's a lot more right-wingers within his audience now. There's people who say, like, transphobic stuff. I can never tell if it's ironic, or if it's, like, I don't know if it's, like, progressives just being edgy, or if it's, like, far-right Republicans just saying some really gross and messed up stuff. I can't tell. Abaddon said, Chud is further left than, say, Destiny. He is a little more socialist leaning, but these people and how they behave are pushing him away from the far left. Yeah, I would say probably on social issues, Destiny's probably a little bit farther left than Chud, but Chud's definitely farther left when it comes to economic issues, that's for sure. So, yeah, if he has, like, if he believes in any semblance of socialism still today, then he's obviously going to be farther left than Destiny when it comes to the economic stuff.
And thinking he's actually pretty funny. And I like Chud Logic. I like Chud Logic a lot. I thought his stuff was cool. I thought he generally had pretty good takes. I thought his Twitter takes were pretty good. Think we were friends. I'd say we were probably friends, or at least I thought we were friends. But then some things begin to change over time. You see, the first thing was just a little bit of what I was willing to attribute to just a little oopsie-doopsie. You see, way back in, like, how long's it been now? Was it 2020? I think it was 2020. Back in 2020, a large content creator by the name of Thought Slime accused me of having a sex cult. I pretty promptly followed up these accusations with a pretty strong debunking of all of them, so much so that to this day, the idea of me having a sex cult is sort of like a meme in the community. Like, it's literally like the Xanderhal sex cult is now a meme because of just how insane it was to just materialize that accusation, right? And Thought Slime, of course, never stepped off of this. Plenty of other lefty breadtube creators jumped on board with it as well, and it was very clearly an attempt by a larger content creator to slander a much smaller content creator at the time and prevent me from, like, growing at the rate that I was growing at the time. So, thankfully I was able to debunk those accusations, but there was somebody, or I should say a large group of people on Twitter, who believed them and were pushing them. Actually, I don't think they believed them. I think they were just pushing them because they didn't like me. And the person in question who became relevant to this story was somebody named Corvidae. Now, Corvidae made numerous tweets calling me ableist and a bunch of other accusations of transphobia and stuff like that, but
I don't know who Corvidae is. Do you guys know who Corvidae is? I know that name. I know I've heard that name. They were the one who said touch grass is ableist.
Really, the accusations of ableism and transphobia were like 10% of the tweets about me, while roughly 90% of them were all just claims that I had a sex cult and sexually abused my fans.
You're based. No,
when
you're
Chud
based.
Logic came to me
You guys
and
are
asked if I
based.
wanted to have a debate about this with Corvidae on stream, I was like, Corvidae wants to debate about the completely false sex cult allegations they're supporting against me on stream? Really? Okay. All right, sure. So,
Damn, he had a different attitude about this stuff back then, eh? Yeah, I see. This is what I said: is when it's easy stuff for him to debunk, he'll go very quickly to engage with it, right? If it's somebody putting out a hit piece on him, and their name is DJ Mule or Noah Samson, people with like very little, going on upstairs, he is very quick to go engage with those people. He is very happy to jump on that with the quickness. But when you got some real stuff, when you're a little bit smarter than those guys, it's unfortunate he's not so quick to engage. I hate it when they close the mic and throw in unnecessary pauses. Oh, get close to the mic? Yes. Well, he does that a lot. That's why in my video, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to cut out all of the long, obnoxious pauses that he does. It's, I just want you to see how weird he is when he talks and how dramatic he's trying to be. So I'm just going to leave it all in there.
So, I show up there and the time comes. And Corvidae has a conversation with Chud Logic before this. And I want to clarify, for anybody who might have just joined, or maybe forgot that I said this, I do attribute this to an honest mistake on Chud Logic's part. Even to this day, I think this was an honest mistake on Chud Logic's part. But Corvidae tells Chud Logic, I really just don't feel comfortable with talking about this because I want to be respectful to the matter at hand and all that. Like, just some like weird explanation for why it would be disrespectful to discuss the literal slander against me that they'd leveraged at me. And so the debate just ends up devolving into being nothing but like talking about me using the R slur for 2 hours because Chud Logic basically banned the top.
Does Zan do debates? He's like a weird version of a lefty drama streamer with politics added in. Yeah, see, that's the thing. People always call him a debate bro. And I only know of like maybe 2, 3 debates he's ever done. And 2 of them weren't even like real debates. So like one was with Lauren Southern, where he agreed to debate her on her book before he ever even read it. He'd never even read her book and said he wanted to debate her on her book. And then once the debate came, he was reaching so hard for every little thing. It was actually like insanely embarrassing. I love you too, No Name. Thank you for the sub. And then the other one was with like Hunter Avila, where like they had a small debate about gender, but neither one of them knew what gender was. Neither one of them could explain it. I reached out to both of them after that conversation and was like, yo, there's a lot of like stuff that y'all said in this conversation where y'all acted like you figured out gender, but neither one of you even had like a good foundation or a good starting point to have that conversation. And so I would love to like come on and, have a conversation. If we disagree, we can debate it, whatever, but neither one of them responded. So, I'll take that back. Hunter responded, but he was like, yeah, let's do that like next week or something like that. And then I just decided to like, I'm like, okay, this guy's probably just going to ignore me until I go away. So I'm just going to leave it alone now. But yeah, those are the only, like, I can't think of a whole lot of debates that he's done. But people always throw him into, like, the debate bro category, and it's really strange, especially, like, the far left, like, when I'm making a video essay about video essayists, right? Especially far left video essayists. It's called the video essayist problem, right? It's kind of like a response to the debate bro problem. All of like the videos that they've all put out on debate bros. I'm putting out a video about video essayists in defense of debate bros. But all of them mention Xanderhal. Every single one of them mentions Xanderhal. And this isn't even a debate bro. But none of them mention somebody like Destiny, right? They're not going to talk about Destiny. They're not going to talk about like tons of other debaters that are actual like debate bros and understand things. They talk about Vosh and Xanderhal, whereas what most of their criticisms of Vosh and Xanderhal, I actually agree with those criticisms. That's the thing. This is like, it's really hard for me to like go after these people on their videos when their videos are talking about Vosh and Xanderhal and their communities. And I like, yeah, you're kind of right though. I mean, if you were talking like you apply Vosh and Xanderhal problems to like all debate bros, but really you're just talking about Vosh and Xanderhal. Like, and you're kind of right, dude. You're not wrong. Did he used to go on panels? He went on to a couple of panels.
Yeah, hold on. Is the
It's
meme
openings,
of
Robins.
the Republican like
You're a
the
fucking
Confederate
idiot,
flag
Zan.
shirt?
Take it
Is that-
down.
Zan,
You're a fucking idiot. Take it down.
No, Zan.
It might be I think it's TOS.
Zan, you need to take that down.
All right, it's gone. All right,
Take
TOS.
click
We-
the button. It's gone. All right.
This is the person who debated Lawrence Southern, huh?
What?
No, everybody quiet. Demon Machine.
Okay. I really don't have any interest in the statues. I don't particularly like statues too much in and of themselves unless they have some sort of point to them that they're trying to really, like at my state capital in South
I
Carolina.
don't think the Confederate flag being in a meme
Xanderhal.
about.
Mute.
Wait, I am muted.
No,
You're
we
not.
can. Well, how did I say that
Hear
then?
you.
Why did I say that then? Xanderhal. If I can hear you.
Go back to
Demon
coping,
Machine.
though. That was pretty fun to watch.
Demon Machine.
Okay, so
What the hell is this? Disturbing tomfoolery goes mask off? What? This is actually recommended on this video.
It's business. Why the fuck else would you fuck over your...
Oh, I didn't know Zan was there. I remember him being there now. I believe he was quiet the entire time. That's right.
Topic of Corvidae accusing me of having a sex cult falsely during the debate that he was hosting. So I felt a little bit bitter after that, I will admit. But I was willing to, I was willing to, honest mistake, right? Honest mistake. He probably didn't really know what was up with the entire drama. And, honest mistake, right? Time passes and the whole ex-girlfriend drama happens, where my ex stole from me and used my money to buy drugs. And among other things that were quite bad, that I created a whole video that breaks this all down with
Yeah.
evidence and all of that, so you guys can go see that as well if you want to look into it. Most of you guys are probably already aware of this, though, because it was fairly recent. Then that happened, and Chud Logic offers a platform for me to come on before I've finished making my full response, because it was taking time, to acknowledge the claims that were being made about me to the public in, like, on his platform, right? So I take the offer, right? Because at this point, I think me and Chud Logic are pretty chill, right? And then he spends the next 2 hours desperately trying to make me look bad.
I mean, look. We all know Chud does this. Like, yes, I said the same thing when I went on and he was like making faces while I'd say something like completely normal. He'd be like, oh, what? And he just like, well, I don't know, Tom, you need to clarify this one. And I'm like, I don't see why I should have to clarify that, but okay, here we go. Like, so yeah, like he drums it up, he plays it up. That's fine. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. He watched me like talk about this stuff, and the next time I went on, he's like, yeah, you're right. Like I was playing some of this stuff up. Like I hope there's no harm. I'm like, there's no harm, dude. I was like, it's all in the it's all in the game. Like this is part of what we're doing. So didn't Zan just want to put everything they had out for transparency and to get ahead of drama? No, he was responding to Lonnie's twit longer, where she put out like information on this stuff and kind of explained what happened, and then he responded to it to say, this is all wrong, this is all lies, and then here's what really happened. So yeah, he wasn't like, I'm just being transparent and getting ahead of it. It was like, he was responding to stuff. Yeah, he's making content, but if you were as butthurt as Xander appears to be, wouldn't you have said something right there on the spot, right? Chud was questioning him pretty hard. The only thing I remember him like getting onto Xanderhal for afterwards, where he's saying that Chud tried making him look bad afterwards. He was making fun of him for the quail farm stuff for sure. Like, that was really cringe. It was really funny. Like, the way that he talked about that stuff was just, it was funny. That's the only thing I remember Chud actually like getting onto him for at all. I don't remember. I was there. I was there when it happened. Yeah, like Chud definitely does this. He's not wrong. Xan is not wrong. Chud for sure will like drum stuff up a little bit more, and like it's it's part of the game. He's making content. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So, and I think Xan knows that before he goes on to Chud's to talk about this, right? That's where he chose to talk about this. He could have gone on a million streams. He could have done it on his own stream, blah, blah, blah. He chose to go on Chud's stream and talk about this. And he knows that's what Chud's going to do. Like, he knows this. Everybody knows this. Like, come on. Like, don't be a baby afterwards. Like, you chose to go on the drama stream, and that's where they're going to play it all up. Like, hell yeah. I thought that was dope, that's where he went, but then he acts like he didn't know where he was going afterwards. So the real reason Xan got mad is in his echo chamber. He is used to saying something and people believe him with zero pushback. Yes. Since doing my stuff on him, I like go check out his content every once in a while to see if he's responded to anything, or if his audience is ever like, yo, I saw this stuff, like, it looks bad, homie, like, you should respond to this. Like, I go check every once in a while, and they do say stuff, and they'll say things, and he just kind of ignores it. But for the most part, yeah, he can say insane, outlandish stuff, and for the most part, his audience does not push back. His audience just jumps on the train and is like, yeah, we're making stuff up now. Let's go. Let's do this. They all seem to enjoy it. So
it was so bizarre. At one point, I talk about how she'd been arrested and put in jail because she had been found in possession of the drugs that I was saying she was addicted to, and I guess he disagreed. I guess he was incredulous towards my accusations. So I say, yeah, she's in jail right now because she was caught with the drugs. And he's like, well, don't you think it's kind of hypocritical of you as a reformist leftist to be okay with your ex-girlfriend being in jail right now? But in
I will say, I thought this was a bad take from Chud. I did. I thought this was a bad take. I didn't think that this was a good take. The fact that Xander/Vosh/Demon Mama will usually jump in to dogpile or target defend each other without knowing any of the details support my claims above. Yes, true. No way Chud is right? I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. Like, being in favor of, like, reform is one thing. But if I'm, like, okay, so let's put it this way, okay? Because we have to assume a lot here, right? We have to assume that, like, Lonnie did all of this stuff and that, like, and that she wasn't willing to pay him back, and that she didn't want to make reparations in any way, okay? If we assume that she didn't want to pay anything back, she wasn't willing to, like, she stole the money, she didn't want to give it back in any way, he says, okay, the only way I can get my money back is, like, with PayPal, where they'll send me the money back, is if there's some sort of police report that shows that somebody that I reported this and that somebody stole it and blah, blah, blah. And then they, send him his money back and say, okay, like, or because most of the time that's what banks will do. He uses PayPal instead of a bank. I don't know if they operate like a bank in that way, but that's what banks will do. So I assume that's what PayPal will do, is if I have like a police report or something like that, and I file it. But, like, saying somebody should go to jail does not mean that you're against reform. Like, you can still be in favor of reform and want people to go to jail. Like, I kept thinking, like, this Chud think, like, they'll, like, you'll murder their mom and they'll be like, oh, don't go to jail, though, because I'm in favor of reform. Like, there have to be lines drawn somewhere. If it was just, like, like a gram of weed, I'm sure he'd be like, yeah, I don't think that anybody should be arrested here. But when it's like, when you've been robbed, that's very different, right? They aren't in favor of reform. They are Hassan levels of hating the police tomfoolery. Okay, that's fine. The point is that there is no contradiction between being in favor of reform and allowing people to go to jail. And that is the claim here. The claim is Chud brought up reform and said, shouldn't you be against her going to jail because you're a leftist reformist? They aren't in favor of reform, Tom. Okay, are you not listening? Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, please, before you type the same thing over. I've already responded to this. You can't just keep repeating the same thing over and over. I've already explained. No, you listen. I am saying that Chud's claim was not that he's not in favor of reform. So that's not what we're talking about. That's a completely different conversation. If you want to have that conversation, maybe they're having that somewhere else. But here we're talking about what Chud said, right? And I am saying Chud, his argument didn't make sense. And you're saying, no, Chud's argument made sense because of all of this other stuff that had nothing to do with Chud's argument. They say if you involve police, you are a dirty liberal. Well, okay. I agree Hassan says that. I have trouble believing Xanderhal said that. But if Xanderhal said that, somebody's got a link, somebody wants to show me, I will believe it. But in the meantime, just saying he's a reformist, which is the claim, is you're a reformist, therefore you shouldn't want people to go to jail. That was the claim. That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about anything else except for if wanting reform means you should never want people to go to jail. That's what we're talking about. And yeah, I thought that was a bad take. It didn't make sense. So.
Yet you claim to be in favor of restorative justice, and he like would just keep doing like weird gotchas like that, trying to like get me on something. It was really bizarre. He like really clearly had changed over time, and his goal was very clearly like getting the most clicks and hype off of this as possible. He wanted to take like a contrarian position that would get him a lot of views, right? Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get that. Is ChudLogic a woke scold? No. He is not a woke scold, as I will go on to explain. You see, ChudLogic's editor and thumbnail maker, the guy who's like making his content for YouTube and like clipping his stream content, is a pretty far-right conservative. Many people have told me he's like a full-on Nazi, and frankly, based on his behavior, I believe it. And I want to let all of you guys know, I'm going to preface this to all of you, ChudLogic is...
I have no... Maybe DK's a Nazi. I have no idea. Like, I would say that he's just like a regular, like, middle-of-the-road conservative type of guy. But yeah. I don't think I don't think DK is a Nazi. Yeah.
And frankly, based on his behavior, I believe it. And I want to let all of you guys know, I'm going to preface this to all of you. ChudLogic is very, very aware of his editor's behavior and has outright said he does not care how much of a piece of shit his editor is or what his editor does. He's not firing him. He's keeping his editor. That he doesn't care, right? So I just want to preface that, right? So because I wasn't able to provide ChudLogic, I guess, with like a scathing outing of the, I guess, some reality in which I'm the bad guy in that whole situation, he decided to manufacture the narrative. And since that point, he's been making pretty incessant hate videos on me since. So the first one...
So this is not true. This is not true. And you'll see, he does not bring up any evidence for this at all. This is not true. He has not been making hate videos on Xanderhal. It's just not true. It is just a blatant lie. But, I mean, look, maybe it's not a lie. I think that this is possibly just how Xanderhal engages with information, but it is not true, okay?
Was this one, where he made this video. Xanderhal lied. Xanderhal's weak allegations response. Vindicated.
It says vindicated with a question mark, not vindicated. It says vindicated and then debunked. And it's got a question mark. Agreed, if you dare say anything about Xanderhal, including spicy worded thumbnails meant to get views, you hate Xanderhal according to him. Yes, and this is how, like, this is like when I fight with people who, there's a lot of rightoids that I'll fight with about the fact that like they get upset about just what a title says on like CNN or something like that, and instead of actually reading the article, they just get upset about the title. And then I'll go and read the article and I'll be like, bro, like the article is like explaining all of the stuff that you think should be explained. Like it says all of that. They're like, well, it should all be in the title. You can't fit that freaking much stuff in the title. The title, the headline is just something to get you to read it. That's it. It's just something there that's supposed to entice you to read the story. The headline is not the story. That's not the story. You're not supposed to get anything from the headline. And it's really funny that like people all the time will get upset about like, you know, oh, people just read headlines and don't actually read the actual articles. And then they'll actually just read headlines and defend themselves just reading headlines. They'll be like, oh yeah, well, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get all the information from the headline. Like Xanderhal is literally doing this on stream right now. Like, guys, look at the headline. Wow. Look, see how bad the video is? You can see how bad the video is because look at the thumbnail, right?
No evidence, debunked, and then like the soy image of me. I think you can imagine what the message is supposed to be from here. And if it was just this, I'd be like, huh, well, what a piece of shit. But I guess...
No, yeah, you can't just say this is what the message is supposed to be. There's an entire, like, what was it? Like, probably like a 2-hour video on this? Like, how long is it? Yeah, 1 hour and 53 minutes. They're throwing out 1 hour and 53 minutes of context here. And this is every time I have some sort of engagement with Xanderhal, every time it is him throwing out all of the context and just focusing on tiny little bits that can give him the ability to run with a narrative. And that's all he cares about. Exactly what he is accusing Chud of here is what he is actually doing in his actual videos. He is actually taking away all context and just finding a way to drum up drama and run with a narrative that is very different from reality. What he is accusing Chud of is what he does. That is what he does, and that is literally what he is doing in the moment that he is accusing Chud of this. It is so frustrating to watch him do this over and over and over. Anybody who watched these videos knows that that is not what happened.
Be from here. And if it was just this, I'd be like, huh, well, what a piece of shit. But I guess it's just once, right? But he's kind of been doing it continuously for a while now. Scumbag lefties cancel campaign versus Shoe on Head lie endlessly. Meanwhile, Shoe on Head is actively has her fans like brigading me and Demon Mama, calling us pedophiles and sending death threats. And then another one. She's QAnon level. Lefties flip on Shoe. Blame her for everything. Xanderhal L in parentheses. The desperate grabs to try to make me look bad out of every single one of these situations. And the ironic thing is, I have gone down as being the one who was right in all of these. In all of these situations, everybody who isn't as retarded as Chud Logic agrees. I did.
Okay, so this one's about my video. Okay? This one's about my video. He did lie about her. He did lie. So did Demon Mama. They both lied. They 100% lied. I substantiate this. I prove this. I prove this over and over. Not only do I prove that they lie, but I prove that they are being hypocrites on their own values, just like I have shown here. Like, that is what happens over and over, is he, like, in my video, is he is lying and being hypocritical, but he doesn't actually engage with the substance of the videos. He just looks at thumbnails that gives him an ability to run with a narrative. And that's it. That is way easier than, like, look, again, this is a 2-hour video. This is an hour video. Everything that he is pointing at has so much context in there that he is ignoring. And it is insane. I didn't actually know that Chud already had a video on this. I feel like I should go back and watch it at some point. He apparently did a video on all of them just as I did. So, but yeah, I like, and truly, anybody, like, if there are any Xanderhal fans here who want to, like, come on and, like, contest this and talk to me about this, I am happy to hear, like, other information that I am not putting in. Unlike Xanderhal, who just wants to like run with the narrative and ignore everybody who disagrees with him, I am happy to have people on. If you disagree with me, if you want to come tell me and say, hey, Tom, here's the parts that you're missing. Here's where Chud actually did this stuff. Here's where you're wrong. I am happy to listen to it. Okay. But even in this video where I am calling him, I'm calling Xanderhal a liar and I'm proving that he's lying over and over. Even in this video, Chud was like very nice to him and very charitable to him and very kind in the way that he covered this. He was definitely much more lenient towards Xanderhal, and he would say things like, wow, that looks bad or something like that. But he was not like, he wasn't going off on what a piece of crap Xanderhal is or what a liar he is or how worthless he is. He didn't do any of that. So just to be clear, he was very nice considering what was in the video, okay?
Not miss here. So this just makes him look bad. He's just stating that. Oh, I was just right. Like, I didn't miss. I was just right, guys. That's it. Just, I don't have to substantiate this. I don't have to, like, make sense of this. I'm just going to say I was right. Now, to be clear, like, the burning of this bridge started with Xanderhal. It started with him and his editor. And it just doesn't seem Xanderhal and his editor, not Chud's editor. It started with Xanderhal and Xanderhal's editor, Cherry. And we'll I guess we'll see if they get into that. Like this backlog of videos shitting on me for the most uncontrovertibly correct things I've done. I think it's definitely not the best look. Regardless, though, that on its own is mostly just annoying and pathetic, right? You know, like just making weird clickbait videos filled with lies and misrepresentation of other content.
Look, if he wanted to get upset about the thumbnails and was like, hey, this is a misrepresentation of what actually happened without pretending that that is the context within the video, I would be fine with that, okay? Like, I have no issue with that. When Chud was talking about the fact that he, that like, oh, you're going to get mad about a thumbnail, I went on to his show and I'm like, like, there is a line where you think like somebody can get upset about a thumbnail, right? Like, if you feel like you're being misrepresented in a thumbnail, you'd probably get upset as well, right? Like, because it's not just that, like, yes, you want to get people to watch, you want to get people to look at your video, and so you put up some sort of enticing headline to get them to watch the video. But on top of that, you're also putting out information. Most of the people who look at your thumbnail aren't clicking on it. Like, I think YouTube averages somewhere from like 2% to 9% on how many people click on a thumbnail that they see. That's like a really high percentage, is like 9% or something like that, right? This is the impressions rate. It's a very like low percentage. Like 90% of people at minimum are looking at your thumbnail and not clicking on it. So they're getting this information from the thumbnail even when they don't click on the video. And I can understand somebody getting upset about that. Should people get information from a thumbnail? No, like you shouldn't. You should be willing to like see the video and see what they're talking about and see, especially when like where it says like he lied on some of those and it has like a question mark next to it. That's, yeah, there's absolutely, you shouldn't be taking information from that. But I can understand if we're looking at this pragmatically, we can look at it and say, yeah, people probably will take information from that and probably will think that that something happened that maybe didn't happen. So I can understand getting upset about that. But he's not just claiming that the thumbnails did this. He's acting like there's more context within the videos where Chud went after him. And now he's burning the bridge because Chud was a bad friend. And that's just not the case. What's up, Digital Anthrax? That's true. I remember that. Chud had more than gave him his due, as did SFO. Then Xanderhal immediately attacks them afterwards. Yep.
Content creators to try to get more views. You know, pretty scummy behavior. On its own, it's really not like the end of the world. Does Chud does like you? I don't think he does. No. Well, maybe he does, but he just kind of, it's all business to him. Like,
Yes, when we're talking about thumbnails, when we're talking about titles, yes, it is business. But it did seem like Chud was still like wanting to be friendly with Xanderhal. It seemed like he was still going out of his way to be friendly with Xanderhal, and Xanderhal was the one getting upset about stupid things that he didn't understand. He kept like taking things out of context and then getting upset about them, and it just didn't make sense.
He just kind of fucks with everybody. But in that case, it's just like, why would I want to be associated with somebody who does that, you know? Regardless, what actually kind of set me off wasn't any of the videos or the thumbnails, because I'm very used to having a lot of hate content made about me. It's nothing new. It was the way that this Nazi editor of ChudLogic's DK Editing, aka Drift King Edits, was talking about a good friend of mine, White Nervosa. For those of you guys that don't know, White Nervosa is the person responsible for making my website, xanderhal.com/live.
Yeah, this is the person, if you guys remember the entire story with Rose Wrist, where she took down his entire website, then forwarded his domain to Keffel's donation website to donate to her, I don't know, plastic surgery, I guess is what it turned out to be. I think at the time it was like, you know, her take down Kiwi Farms and like sue Kiwi Farms fund. And now it's like, you know, her, let's get a new... let's get some liposuction and a new background and yeah, a vacation to another country or another continent, really. And that is what the fund turned into, I believe. And White Nervosa forwarded Rose Wrist's website to Keffel's website. And the only reason that she did that was because Rose Wrist proofread Destiny's manifesto on Keffel's. That's it. He just proofread it. He just proofread it, did some editing for Destiny, and they decided that was enough to, because they also ran Rose Wrist's website, and they decided, yeah, this is enough to forward his website, which is obviously illegal. Like, that's insanely illegal. That's his property. You can't just take somebody's property and do what you want with it. It was a disgusting thing to do, and yeah, that's White Nervosa. She's since apologized and said this was unprofessional, blah, blah, blah. But she does stuff like this fairly consistently and kind of lies about people fairly consistently. So
live, as well as Vash's website, as well as Kanye's website, as well as like a dozen other content creators' websites. White Nervosa really is responsible for a lot of what is possible here, and they don't get enough credit. They don't get enough credit and not enough praise from here. DK...
That actually is true. White Nervosa was running Rose Wrist's website for free. So, like, White Nervosa apparently does really do a lot for people. She runs Denims, I believe. Denims, Keffels, Vosh, Xanderhal, Demon Mamo, Conyer, all of these people. She runs all their websites and does all the stuff on the back end. I don't think she does all of it for free. I think some of them pay for it. Like, I think Damon Mama and Xanderhal and Vosh all pay for it, but they pay for it so that other people can get it for free as well. So I do think that that's an awesome service and that's an awesome thing to do. They did take the code from Destiny stuff, but it was like open source, so not that big of a deal. Like, I suppose they probably should have, you know, made contributions every time they made updates, but they didn't, apparently, according to Destiny. So yeah, but anyways, doesn't matter. It is like a cool thing that White Nervosa does with what is it called? White Forest, I believe, is the name of her company, where she provides back-end services for people to have their own streaming websites.
Ended up tweeting this thread about White Nervosa that just came off deranged as fuck, and it came up in my recommended.
White Nervosa, I know you'll see this. You will never get your life back together. You will exist in perpetuity.
So this is really weird that he's acting like DK just randomly tweeted this at White Nervosa. This is really strange. See, White Nervosa has me blocked, so I can't pull up her stuff. I can only see it through like third-party websites, but this is how I believe this started. It was White Nervosa adding Twitch and adding Twitch support and said, Twitch and Twitch support has explicitly told me that it's okay that the partnered Irrational Chad, aka Chud Logic, has called me, another Twitch partner, a gay retard. They don't say that this is incorrect at any point. I think that that's important. If somebody's calling you a gay retard and you're upset about it, I think you should probably say that you're not a gay retard if you want us to be upset about it as well. It's possible that maybe you actually are a gay retard. I don't know. What's up, Andrew? What's up, BPF? How's it going, man? This is how this started, okay? She said, take that as you will and do as you wish off platform as long as it's not an imminent threat. So she quote tweeted, apparently she started off upset that DK posted this and said, not really sure what's going on, but Andrew Callaghan definitely didn't rape that young lady. And then he tweeted out a second time. So she said, it's really dumb that he felt it was necessary to tweet this twice. Okay? That's what she said in this caption is, it's really stupid that this guy felt it was necessary to tweet this twice. And then the second, so the first one says, not really sure what's going on, but Andrew Callaghan definitely did not rape that young lady. And then the second one says, not really sure what's going on, but Andrew Callaghan definitely raped that young lady. Okay? So the joke is he's tweeting it twice, making sure that he's on the good side of this. Like, he's just trying to make sure that he, like, whatever ends up being true, he's gonna go ahead and get out in front of it and be on the right side. So he tweeted out both so that he could eventually come back to it and be like, see, I knew it. I knew it the whole time. In one, he's saying he definitely raped that young lady. In the other one, he said definitely didn't rape that young lady. That's the joke. And then she tweeted out later, before anyone asks if I want to deplatform ChudLogic, yes. Okay? So she started all of this. She started all of this bullcrap. She started with this stuff, okay? When Xanderhal is reading this, he's reading DK responding to like a ton of bullcrap from White Nervosa. He's responding to like her trying to get his job taken away, him getting deplatformed, Chud getting deplatformed, his job getting taken away. Like, they're responding to this woman trying to ruin their lives. Like, she is going out of her way and straight up saying, yes, I am trying to ruin their lives. I want to ruin their lives because they said something mean about me. As much as I don't think that you should run around calling people gay retards or whatever, I don't think that's enough to want somebody to be deplatformed. Tom, can you say you're a gay retard so I can just clip it, please? No. I will not say that. And so, yeah, so she started off with this crap. She started going after them. And I don't think Xanderhal ever even mentions any of this. He just acts like DK is just like an unhinged dude just randomly going off about White Nervosa. And as much as he is unhinged and he looks unhinged here, there's a lot of context that makes this a bit more understandable when you realize she is doing her best to ruin this person's life. She is doing her best to go after this person and make him, homeless or without a job, without money. Like, and this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the fact that like Chud Logic is actually consistent when it comes to his socialist beliefs. These people will still call themselves socialists while running around trying to get people's jobs taken away. It is weird. It is weird. Like, especially when they're trying to get it taken away over stuff like this. That is not enough. That is not enough. I'm sorry. That's just not enough. That's not good enough. Like, if it was something that was like, super racist or, super transphobic, or like you think that they're going to like lead people into, radical beliefs or something like that. Sure, I suppose at that point it makes sense. I'm in favor of deplatforming people all the time because I'm a freaking capitalist. So I'm allowed to be in favor of deplatforming people all the time. But the socialists, I would think, if they actually cared about workers, if they actually cared about workers' rights, if they were actually consistent on the things that they believed in, I would think this, like, all of this from White Nervosa would be frowned upon at minimum.
Perpetual state of self-loathing and imposter syndrome for the rest of your miserable life. Your entire career is based off stolen code. Your social circle is just as fragile.
By the way, the stolen code that they're referring to here is publicly available open source code on GitHub, GitHub is literally like every coder's best friend because it's where everybody uploads their open source code for other coders to use. So like,
again, from what I understand, that is true, but it was like it was Destiny's code. So like I think people are wrong when they say that they stole the code. People are always accusing them of stealing the code. They didn't, excuse me, they didn't steal it. There's like an implication that, you know, they did something wrong there by taking the code. They didn't steal it. They didn't do anything wrong by taking it. But it's not, yeah, they are running their entire business off of Destiny, somebody who they are also trying to deplatform.
That's the point? Okay. All of your friends and allies will
eventually turn on you. A new, better chameleon will build newer, better websites
for streamers. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Like, I guess this is supposed to be like, oh, you're going to become irrelevant one day. Like, really trying to, like, hit some imagined, like, insecurity that White Nervosa has. I assure you, White Nervosa does not have an insecurity about, like, job security here. At least not with me. White Nervosa is my friend. I don't plan to ever have anybody but White Nervosa making my website stuff unless it's absolutely necessary.
That hopeless and guilty feeling you have deep down will never go away. It will gnaw you every waking moment, just like it always has. The mistakes of your past will never leave you. The only solution is God.
Yeah, this guy's like a tradcath type, by the way.
Yeah, again, he's reading all of this stuff in this voice, like DK is this crazy, totally unhinged person just saying this stuff out of nowhere. And he gives none of the context for why DK would be this upset with somebody and all of the things that White Nervosa did to deserve being talked to in this way. It's insane that, like, he can continue to just lie to his audience, and none of them are going to call him out on this. None of them are going to say, like, yo, like, she was being pretty messed up. Like, none of them are going to say anything.
He is out there somewhere, at the bottom of a 4-story drop, in the back room of a gun range, at the end of a prescription bottle. Go find him.
So yeah, he finishes it off with telling White Nervosa to commit suicide. As you can imagine, I pretty quickly followed up with a Uno reverse card move. ChudLogic's Nazi editor writing anime villain monologues about how he wants my friend to commit suicide. I have a feeling he's projecting this suicide thing, so my message to him is he should stop procrastinating.
Yeah, look, you shouldn't tell people to go commit suicide. People like White Nervosa do and say stuff like this fairly regularly, and when they do and say it, everybody will excuse it because they will actually look at all of the outside context of what happened beforehand and say, oh, well, this makes sense. I guess I'll just have to go to my video because I feel like we got to play this, right? When he's talking about people, how you shouldn't tell people to kill themselves. I feel like we got to play this, okay? Here we go.
Cruelty is a virtue. I said it earlier in stream that these are the types of people who think cruelty is a virtue. I wasn't kidding.
I literally, this guy is so dumb. Seriously, he is too stupid. This is how he started his video off.
All right, well, everybody, it seems that I have pissed off a whole lot of people once again. What else is new? Just always upsetting the worst people out there, aren't I? With that said, I mean just last night, got unbanned from Twitter. I was on a 1-week suspension due to mass reporting. Now, granted, I did actually break TOS. I told a transphobe to Roblox themselves in fairly great detail. I'm surprised that
Now, obviously, he's against that sort of language, right? He's not okay with telling people to kill themselves. So he's going to take this back fairly quickly, right?
I got suspended temporarily and not permanently for that. Regardless, though, I do not regret it. It was Giga Chat as fuck. I got a week-long suspension, and now I'm back.
Yeah, maybe not. So this tells me that he did not watch my video. So where lots of people are like, bro, he definitely watched your video. That's why he's like adjusting a lot of his language around this. That's why he's like, you know, changed a lot of the things that he's saying. That's why he's like definitely not going to engage with it, is because he already knows how bad he looks in there, blah, blah, blah. This tells me he definitely did not watch my video, because he's still saying things like cruelty is a virtue for right-wingers, when, as we know, just from looking at what White Nervosa said and what he said, we know they also think that cruelty is a virtue. So this is, bit hypocritical, but okay, let's continue.
Yeah. Uno reverse card. With that said, this absolutely set him the fuck off. Oh my god, did he lose his mind over this? He then proceeds to like quote tweet me with like, "I'll do it if you do it, though I doubt you could accomplish even suicide without your meth addict XGF there to mother you through it. Unfortunately, she's probably too busy blowing her dealer behind your back to help anyway." This is really good trash talking, I'll admit. I don't know how well it holds up when, like, the entire reason he doesn't like me is based on the assumption that I'm some kind of lying piece of shit, which started with his claims that I was lying about my ex. Yeah, so basically, it's him admitting that he was lying, and he knows that. And people just proceed to dunk on him a little bit, more dunking on him, people dunk on him for a little bit. We get Mindwaves, who you may know for his tendency to find random women talking about their stories of being raped on the internet.
We talked about this. This wasn't victim blaming. This was when, you know, Destiny and Mindwaves talked about this. They were just saying, like, hey, if there's a sign that says, you know, Rape Alley on it, it's probably a good idea not to walk down Rape Alley. Like, that's all they're saying is just like, hey, this would be wise. This is what people ought to do. They didn't like blame this person. They didn't say anything about them, you know, it being their fault or anything like that. But people like to bring this up over and over as though that's what happened. And it's just not. They're just saying like, hey, if you have issues with having sex and you're incapable of, you know, pushing your own boundaries and setting boundaries and holding boundaries, you should probably wait to have sex until you're capable of that. And I think everybody in their right mind would agree with that. But when you see that it's actually being said to a woman in this context, it comes off really bad. It's not a good look. So yeah, I would agree that they probably shouldn't have done it in this way, especially not adding like a specific girl who's talking about her experience in that moment. Probably not the best way to do it, but the information was perfectly fine. So
internet and then like quote tweeting them, shitting on them for, I guess, quote unquote, not protecting themselves from rape better. Yeah, that is unironically what he's known for. He does like he plays defense for Chud Logic, like,
imagine crying over a thumbnail.
Is that it? Is that all we're gonna get? Is him just like repeating that in a weird voice and then just moving on? Like, he's not even gonna respond to that? I hope he responds to it. This is insane.
Imagine being a content creator and being in any way upset by the fact that another content creator is lying about you for views. Heh, couldn't be me.
And they do a little bit of virtue not virtue sig.
Considering whether I should pour bleach on a wound, this guy already suffered from looking worse than me and his failed responses to me. Yeah, he had some failed responses to me as well, where he just blatantly lies. Like, anybody who saw my video knows that he was lying. Just obviously, we went over the clips earlier. Like, he seems to do this, is where like people call him out for something, and in response to them calling him out, he makes himself look even worse and does exactly what it is that they're calling him out for. And he's so dumb that he doesn't even know he's doing it. And all he's doing is just dunking on himself. It's really frustrating to like watch people just enjoy that so much, as though there's no hypocrisy there.
They do a little bit of concern trolling about how me saying "no you" to this guy telling my friend to kill themselves is actually hypocritical, which is definitely conservative logic, that's for sure. And then we finish.
Hold on, let me play that again. Hold on.
Saying "no you" to this guy telling my friend to kill themselves is actually hypocritical, which is definitely conservative logic.
Yeah, that's just logic. So, if you guys remember, Vosh had this entire arc where he says, hypocrisy is not a left-wing thing. Lefties don't believe in hypocrisy. If you are a utilitarian, you don't care about hypocrisy. It's not something that you believe in whatsoever. And so, like, when he says this, I think that's what he's saying, is that hypocrisy is conservative logic. That, like, if you say you shouldn't do X and then you go do X, that's like, that there's nothing wrong with that. That's just conservative logic. I'm fine with logic being a right-wing idea. Yeah, me too.
That's for sure. And then we finish it off finally with, I have to say, possibly the best interaction of all of it. I would lie to God himself if it meant one more view. Someone else replies, this is minor-like behavior. And then DK replies, if anyone knows about minors, it's Xanderhal, the literal groomer. So he finishes it off with calling me a pedophile. He got so mad that I called him out for the, like, thumbnails where he's, like, clickbaiting, calling me a liar, or, like, just lying about me to get views.
So, okay. So that is a harken back to a meme. All right. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. All right. I am not defending this meme, but again, he's leaving out the context. This is harkening back to a meme, and I will show you the meme real quick. In case you didn't see it, him calling him a literal groomer is from this right here, okay?
Xanderhal then made something else up. Look at this. So Xanderhal quote tweeted this and said this: Chud Logic literally favoriting comments on the vid calling me a groomer. Notice that there's no evidence provided of this. So I had a look through the comments to see what he was talking about, right? This comment is the only comment on the entire video that's hearted with one.
Comment said, Shu calls out groomers, Zan, how dare you call me out? So Xanderhal took a screenshot of this and posted it, or he didn't actually. He just said that Chud Logic is favoriting comments calling him a groomer. Whereas the first one didn't actually call him a groomer. The first one kind of like alluded to it, but it said, Shu, groomers are bad. Groomers, how dare you call us out? And DK, Chud's editor, liked the comment. And so because Xanderhal got mad and said this was about him, they're like, look, he's calling himself a groomer. Like, he's literally admitting he is a groomer. He's calling himself a groomer. If they're saying groomer said, how dare you call us out? And he's saying this is about me, then he's calling himself a groomer. Like, that's what he's doing. So the second one says, Zan, how dare you call me out? Because he pretty much said it was about him. What's up, Johnny? What's up, Andre? How's it going, guys? So yes, that was a harken back to a meme. Again, I washed my hands of this, okay? I just make the meme video and post it, okay? I have nothing to do with this. I would not call Xanderhal a groomer. I would never do something like that. But in the end, him, like, DK calling him a groomer here is part of the meme. Like, that's the joke.
He got so mad about it, he finishes it off with calling me a pedophile because I called him out. How fragile do you have to be to go to pedophile for someone calling you out for your cringy clickbait thumbnails where you lie about them?
DK doesn't actually think he's a groomer, but he does think that he's defending groomer type stuff. And that's what I said in my video as well, is yeah, he is defending groomer like behavior or defending groomer type things, defending things that would make grooming more socially acceptable, you know, normalizing groomer-like pictures. Like, yes, he is defending things about grooming. He is defending grooming, but he is not a groomer. That's very different. And we had that conversation on stream with Chud, with DK. I talked to both of them about this. So it is clear that they don't actually think he's a groomer. It's just, it is the meme. Like, that's the joke, is that he's calling himself a groomer, so...
And this guy edits for Chud? Yes, this is Chud Logic's editor and thumbnail maker and, like, content manager. This is Chud Logic's main guy. Like, you know how I have Cherry to do like my stuff? This is Chud Logic's Cherry, pretty much.
Xanderhal fans, please, we will probably post this in a separate video. Tell me, are you okay with this? Are you cool with this? Like, he leaves out all of the context to what it is that's being said here over and over and tries to frame everything very differently than what's actually happening. He tries to make people look like they're doing things and saying things very different than what they're actually doing and saying. And I have shown that over and over in this case, that he is just leaving out all context that would actually make sense of this stuff. Now, I would say, if I wanted to know whether or not my content creator, the person that I watch, is actually being honest, I would want to know, like, how much context are they acknowledging? How much are they showing? Are they showing the full picture, or are they just showing like little parts here and there? Later, Mary. Have a good night. Appreciate you joining us. But yeah, me going over this, I'm going to show all of the context. I'm going to show everything that relates so that you can get a full, well-rounded picture, or I'm going to at least talk about it. I'm at least going to tell you about it. I'm going to reference it. Chud, when Chud goes over this, he goes over all of the context. He goes over all of the other stuff. He also did a video about... Those things are driving me nuts. All right. But yes, we like, so to the Xanderhal fans, okay? You got to tell me, man, how do you defend this? How is this okay to you? Even if you want to say that DK in the end is wrong, that Chud Logic in the end is wrong, okay? You can do that. You can have those opinions. That's perfectly fine. How do you have the opinion that it is okay to misrepresent stuff this much? How do you have the opinion that it is okay to leave out this much context? How is that an opinion that you can have? How is this something that you are just passively looking at, saying, yeah, it's just lying about people again? I understand that on the left, there's this idea that there are no bad, what is it again? No bad tactics, only bad targets, I think is the phrase. And that's just a very unprincipled and ridiculous way of viewing things. It's a very immoral sort of way of thinking about things. And I don't believe that Xanderhal or Vosh or, you know, any of these people would defend that line of thinking. I'm pretty sure they would act. I'm almost positive I've heard Xanderhal say that is an immoral line of logic. So even though you might think that Xanderhal or that Chud Logic is bad, you might think that DK editing is bad. You might think that these are good targets. That's fine. Why is it okay for him to lie about it, though, just because they are bad? Why is it okay that he can misrepresent this entire thing and make it look like something very different than what it actually is? Why is that okay? Context is a right-wing idea. Yeah. Context, logic, and hypocrisy are all right-wing things, apparently. Yeah, he's just skipping around from one out-of-context thing to another out-of-context thing, just trying to make them look as bad as possible.
And we're popping Chud Logic's cherry.
But listen, it actually goes back even further than that. The absolute derangement and psychopathy of this narcissistic piece of shit. Here's him telling White Nervosa to kill themselves, like earlier, because they've been doing it like a few times today. It wasn't just like one tweet. It was like it was like a number of tweets where he's just been continuously saying like, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, because he's very creative. We've got another one here. Here we have.
Yeah, should have said Roblox yourselves.
Roblox themselves?
Then it would have been creative. That's how you creatively tell someone to off themselves.
Him quote tweeting AU Skipper saying, "Gay retards like this are why the leftoids get away with this shit. Quote unquote annoying woke school. They're trying to get me fired, remove my income, destroy my ability to provide for my family. If it's me losing my income or them reincarnating, I choose the latter."
Is he as critical of Vosh for calling people gay and using ableist slurs? Does anybody watch Xanderhal? Do we have any Xan fans in the chat? Is he as critical of Vosh and other? Doesn't he also? I've heard, while I'm going over all of these video essayists videos on Debate Bros, a lot of them say that he uses ableist slurs. I'm not sure. Again, I guess it doesn't matter if you don't care about hypocrisy. If being a hypocrite is not a thing you try to avoid. That wasn't DK. That was probably whoever hacked his account. DK would never do something like that. He loves everyone. Yeah. No, Vosh is a friend of the channel. Yeah, I mean, look, Vosh is a friend of my channel too. Okay. Vosh is a friend of my channel. Here, he's in my, he's right here in my Discord. Demon Mama left my Discord. I think Denim's left my Discord when I put out the video. Vosh didn't leave my Discord, right? Like, because he's cool with people being critical of him. Hey, it's Vadim, did not leave my Discord. He knows that I was being critical of him in the video. Like, all of the other people did not leave my server. They are still friends of the channel. They are still people that I can engage with. I've talked to Vosh since then. Like, since I put out the video. These are still friends of the channel, and I'm still willing to be critical of them. Not only am I willing to be critical of them, I feel like it's more necessary that I'm critical of them. So just like Chud, him and I have had numerous disagreements. He has really helped this channel over the last couple weeks, over the last month, and even like as long as I've known him, he has sent me so much love and put so many people on this channel. ChudLogic has been an absolute baller when it comes to helping out not just me, but smaller channels in general have benefited from Chud greatly. Even though he's helping me in this way and he is a friend of the channel, I'm still going to be very critical of him. I'm still going to disagree with him. We're still going to have debates. We're still going to have arguments. We're still going to get into it sometimes. Me being critical of these people does not mean that I hate them. It doesn't mean that I don't want people to watch them. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to destroy them. It doesn't mean that, like, it doesn't mean any of these things. It just means that, like, I think they did something wrong, and that's kind of the end of it. And that's the way I'm going to interact with all of these people. So I get, you say, like, oh yeah, well, he's friends with Vosh, so he's not going to be critical of Vosh. I'm friends with all of the people that I'm critical of, and I'm still going to continue being critical of them because I expect them to be critical of me because, yeah, that's just kind of what people do who are like more worried about growth as a person than they are worried about growth as a channel. But yeah.
Every time. This guy's like a piece of shit Nazi who uses lies about other content creators for clicks and views, and he's...
Did we ever get to the part where he substantiated DK being a Nazi? Did we ever even get to like any Nazi beliefs that he believes or espouses? Did I miss that part? Did you guys see that part?
He's like, why do they want me fired?
I heard it somewhere was the most proof offered. DK hates Xan and only Nazis hate Xan. DK is a Nazi. He runs Spicy Chat and there is a dude in there with the name SS. Fair enough. I mean, look, we got somebody in our chat named Killer Sieg defending him, okay? I mean, come on. If that's not enough proof for you to know that DK is a Nazi, then I don't think there will ever be enough proof.
Why are they so upset about me having a job? They should all die. I hope they fucking kill themselves. I hope they all fucking die.
What a fucking pussy, dude. What a little fragile little fuck man. Little fuck boy. He gets pretty mad. He's a pretty mad boy.
But yeah, this is all he does, is he doesn't actually say like what it is he's responding to, what it is he's talking about, what it is he's going off on. He just reads his stuff in a little weird voice and then makes fun of him. And that's it. That's as good as it gets from Xan. That's it. It's just, oh, look how bad this guy is. And then, what? You can read his tweets in a weird voice like that? You can only read Nazis' tweets in a weird voice like that. So it's obvious he's a Nazi then.
Dude's pretty deranged. ChudLogic's talked about the fact that he doesn't really give a shit about what he does or says or any of his vile behavior.
That's not true. Chud has over and over said, I disavow this. I don't agree with this. I don't think he should do this. This is a horrible belief. This is something that I disagree with. He has said all of these things. He has not just said, oh, I don't care. Do whatever you want. He has not said that. But he has said, hey, I'm a socialist. I believe in workers' rights. I believe in protecting people and their jobs. I believe the government should have laws protecting people against firing them over things like this. And so I personally will not fire people over things like this. But Chud avoids that because he doesn't want to be a hypocrite, and hypocrisy is a right-wing belief, and that makes Chud a Nazi.
I guess I kind of do. I think that most people who are decent human beings probably do. Also, it's bizarre to me that, like, they're going after my appearance in the videos and the thumbnails when ChudLogic literally looks like the quartering. This dude's literally making thumbnails, making fun of my appearance, when he looks like British the Quartering. That's Chud? Yeah, he hid behind behind like a little painting of like a I guess like a...
They're not wrong, dude. They're not wrong. I mean, come on. He's like a Harry Potter version of the Quartering, if we're being real. Put a little lightning bolt on Chud's head right there, and we got the Harry Potter version of the Quartering. They will rail against things when it's beneficial for them, and then they will do those same exact things when it's beneficial for them. And I hope you guys stop watching me if I do that. I hope if I do these things and you guys call me out for being a hypocrite, and I just sit here and I'm just like, well, it's okay when I do it. I hope you guys never watch me again. I hope everybody turns around and is like, you know what? This Tom guy's a piece of crap.
Victorian era British aristocrat for a while, and he showed his face before TwitchCon because he was going there and he had to do a face reveal. So yeah, now we know what he looks like. He looks like the Quartering's British cousin. Very strong resemblance to the Quartering. Listen, I don't normally go after people's appearances, but like every thumbnail that this guy has made shitting on me has been going after my appearance. So like, I'm sorry. You can't...
That's just not true. When he says I don't normally go after people's appearances, that is just blatantly untrue.
All right, so usually in my videos and my responses, I'm pretty mean. Maybe not mean, but like rude. You know, I do little dunks, you know, I attack people's appearance or whatever, and I can be a little bit rude to people. But it's...
What? He attacks people on their appearance? No way, dude. No way. He doesn't ever do that. That's not a thing that he does. In one video, he's saying, I don't normally do that. In the other video, he's saying, I normally do that. Which one do we trust, Xanderhal?
Can't throw bricks from glass houses that fragile and not expect me to literally just give it a good little nudge and make that house shatter. You know, it's like, it's too easy. It's too tempting, okay? I'm weak.
This is a great analogy of every time I review anything Xanderhal ever says. This is like, that's a perfect analogy of Xanderhal, and this video right here is he just makes it so easy, except I don't have to do the things. I don't have to betray my own values in order to do it. I don't do it at any point. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen at all.
To the allure of making fun of this guy's absolutely like stereotypical neckbeard internet loser appearance. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an insight into this drama. And
it is a little bit. He is correct on that. It is just a little bit of insight. It is very, very little insight into this drama. Because yes, all of this started with Xanderhal on Twitter. Right here. So yeah, so this all started with this. With the whole thing about Xanderhal getting upset about the thumbnail. Him and his editor complaining about thumbnails. Okay, this is on January 6th. That's when all of this started, because they were upset about the thumbnail. Now, if they actually watched the video, they would know, well, he actually lied. He actually lied numerous times. And some of the stuff he didn't lie about. He was just uninformed and acting as though he knew what he was talking about. Like with the Twitter stuff, the Instagram stuff, with like all the stuff about Balenciaga, that he felt like he was saying that, you know, Shu got wrong like, she didn't get any of that stuff wrong. He got it wrong. He didn't do his research. He was just incorrect. He was just repeating stuff that nutcases on Twitter said. That's where all of this started. And so, yes, he quote tweeted this and said, ChudLogic literally favoriting comments on the video calling me a groomer. And again, just didn't show the comment. Didn't show what it was he was talking about. As he is commenting on a video criticizing him for not showing any of his work, for not showing sources, for not showing where he's getting his information from, for not proving anything, any of the claims that he made. He's commenting on a video about him doing that, and then he does it again, right here. He literally does it right there. And so, yeah, that's where all of this started. Tom's video was pretty good and laid out some fair criticisms of you, but I see you're just going to disregard that and pivot to shit like this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what all of this is about. That's what this entire thing is about. It is him finding ways to go after people who watched my video and said, oh, wow, these are reasonable criticisms of Xanderhal. And instead of him saying, no, those are not reasonable criticisms of me, instead of saying, you know what, Tom, you are wrong when you said X, Y, and Z, instead of him saying, you know what, Tom lied about this actually, or Tom got it wrong here actually, or what would be best is if he just said, you know what, fair, my bad, I screwed up. That's like, that would be the best. That's what I do when this happens. That's what I do in these sorts of circumstances. Is I'm like, oh, damn, you got me. Got to take that video down. My bad. But instead, he is finding ways to avoid the video while still getting upset about the video. He has to find a way to still get upset about the video and get upset at people who are watching the video without actually engaging with the video itself, without engaging with the criticisms within the video, without acknowledging how much of a piece of crap he is. He has to do this entire song and dance of getting upset about thumbnails instead. He's getting upset about thumbnails. That's what they're going to go after, is thumbnails. But they don't ever say, well, within the video, that's not what actually happened. They don't ever say, even though that's what the thumbnail says, they don't substantiate that claim at all. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. And I understand, if you want to say, Xanderhal, if you want to say, I don't have time to go over all this stuff. I don't have time to look at everybody's videos. I don't have time to engage with every single critique. That's fine, but don't pretend as though you did. You can't then get on the internet and act as though you did. You can't turn around and act like you know what's in the video if you don't have time to watch the video. You can't turn around and make claims about the video and talk about details within the video if you didn't watch the video. If you don't know anything about the video, don't pretend as though you know about the video. That is the problem. That is what you're doing. It's not that I expect you to have watched each and every one of these videos and know what's in them. It's that I don't expect you to critique them and make up lies about them if you didn't watch them. That's the issue. And that is why he is not going to give you all the context. That is why he is not going to tell you what's actually going on. That's why he's not going to explain things from all sides. It's because his side looks really bad. His side looks horrible, and he cannot defend himself. So instead of trying to defend himself, he just takes everybody else out of context and then engages with that. I got banned as soon as I posted this. What did I say? Is the reason because that was way easier than addressing tomfoolery video on me? Of course not. And then I said, edit, I watched it. Xanderhal is factually wrong about half the stuff he said here. LOL. How does he lie to avoid engaging with lies? So yes, you can see there's not a single thumbs up on this, is because they're like, nobody can see it. I got banned immediately. So Why is his editor a Nazi? People said so is not a good reason. Hey, he definitely has that I live on the internet Nazi lingo on lock. That's not enough evidence to call him a Nazi. They're just going to continue doing it. So, undercover communist. So are we going to post any proof or backup for the very serious claim that someone is a full-on Nazi, or are we just going to leave it there? So when did Shu brigade you and accuse you of being a pedophile? The fact that you left out all of the context is very deceptive. Why don't you educate the class? The whole thing started when White Nervosa misread a tweet from DK. Yes! Yes, we got people who are in the know. This video should say, because I'm terrified of Tomfoolery show and refuse to respond to his criticisms of me, so I respond to literally everything else instead. And that's it. The end. Who? Said, every time I explain how Zan started this and where to find the receipts, they delete it. You'll have to look up Tom yourself, but Zan is lying about the entire thing. Cope and seethe. Same person from before. Same response. So I think you should go over that dipshit tomfoolery video on you. It's pure garbage. Based. Hell yes. But I saw like 4 or 5 people saying, this is just another way to run from Tom. Wait, ChudLogic stood up for you and defended you up until the shoe stuff. He was on your side for most of that drama. Yes, this is what I said. In all of those videos that he's showing where he's like, yeah, he was being so mean to me. Just look at the thumbnail. Like, Chud was on his side in that crap. I don't know. I feel like Zan just didn't watch the video criticizing Shu. A pretty clear miss by him and Demon Mama. Zan L, he effed up the Shu on head coverage and has been salty ever since. True. So yeah, so there's a ton of people who know what's going on in his comments. There's a ton of people who know what the hell is going on. Tom, didn't you also defend Zan when a viewer asked Zan for a refund on a dono after Zan said, no matter what, if you have financial issues and need a refund, just ask for it? I don't remember that stuff very well. I've defended Zan on a ton of stuff, so I have no idea. Even since I put out my video on him, I've had to defend him numerous times over, like, really bad critiques of him. So I looked through, and your comments are not there for me, Tom. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you. They're like, they definitely banned me.
I am a Xanderholic. I know the Slanderholics are going to be coping hard on this one. I am a proud Xanderholic. Okay, I am a Xanderholic. That is what I am. Well, you know, you've got the based GigaChad Xanderholics, and then you've got the Soys Slanderholics, who are struggling today. Slanderholics gonna be. Now listen, the Slanderholics are coping. Okay, the Xanderholics are gonna win good. You'll see in the end. All right.